Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to, I guess I better put it on. Welcome to tonight's Board of Appeals hearing. Before we begin, let me introduce some members of town government that act as advisors to this board. To my left is Paul Hennings, counsel to the board. To his left is Blaise Donadio, a planner in the planning department. Now let me tell you why you're here tonight. New York State statute requires that any town that adopts zoning must also have a Board of Appeals to act as a relief valve so those persons aggrieved by strict application of the zoning ordinance can seek relief without the expense of going to court. Town board can give Board of Appeals additional powers such as special exception approvals, site plan approvals. In Smithtown, the town board has given this board authority regarding certificate of existing use and some special exception uses. The most common kind of application before the board are area variances. Area variances deal with dimensions such as lot area, frontage, height, setback, and parking spaces. New York State statute mandates that the board must consider the following criteria in the area variances. When you come to the podium to present your application, you need to address these 5 areas. They're posted here for you. Number 1, whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties will be produced. Number 2, whether the applicant has other feasible alternatives. Number 3, whether the variance is substantial. Number 4, whether an adverse impact on the environment will be created. And number 5, whether the alleged difficulty is self-created. The statute requires the board to balance the interest of the applicant and those of the neighborhood or community. The statute further requires that the board shall grant the minimum variance shall deem necessary and adequate, and at the same time preserve and protect the character of the neighborhood and the health, safety, and welfare of the community. The board has the power to impose reasonable conditions for granting variances. Special exception variants are different. When we have a special exception, I will explain the criteria. Regarding procedure, cases will be called in order that they are advertised. When your case is called, please come forward, submit your affidavits and receipts to Mr. Donadio, and you will be sworn in at the podium and be given the opportunity to explain to this board why you need the variance. After the applicant is done speaking, all interested parties will be given one opportunity and only one opportunity to be heard. So please organize your thoughts, keep your remarks factual that are related to the case. Then I will ask the applicant to come back to the podium to answer your concerns. The board will then close the case and reserve decision. After all the hearings are closed, the board will review the cases and decide some of them. Others will be reviewed at a later date. There are 3 ways to find out the results of the case. Number 1, you can wait until after the public hearing, but there's no guarantee the board will act on your case tonight. Number 2, you can call the planning department tomorrow afternoon. 3, applicants can wait and be notified by mail. After the hearings, and if a case is closed, no additional information can be submitted by the applicant or any interested parties. All right? I have adjournments. So let me tell you those. The first adjournment is 17178, Charles Muller. Was there anyone here for that one? That's adjourned to October 28th. All right. The next case is 17184. That has been adjourned, and there is a little bit of difference. It's November 12th. It's a Wednesday instead of a Tuesday night because of Veterans Day. So it's Wednesday, November 12th. All right? 17184. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The first case on the agenda, number 17209, Arlette Epstein Hall, 3 Tulipwood Drive, Comac. The location of the property, the southeast corner of Tulipwood Drive and Cedarwood Lane. The property is zoned R10. The applicant requests a variance to reduce the minimum front yard setback from 40 to 37 feet for a proposed generator on Cedarwood Lane. Reduce the minimum front yard setback of an existing fence from edge of road pavement from 26 feet to 14 feet on Cedarwood Lane.
May I have your name, please?
Arlette Hall Epstein.
And your address, please?
3 Tulip Wood Drive in Comac?
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Are you going to speak?
Maybe.
I don't know,
Aye.
maybe. Yes.
May I have your name, please?
Excuse me,
Nathaniel
Madam
Epstein?
Chair.
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Just to let you know that the affidavit of compliance does not have the names and addresses noted on the back of the affidavit.
What do you
We
need?
could have the applicant fill it out after the,
Yeah.
Oh, I have the names and addresses. Is this what you want?
you have a separate list?
Yes.
Oh, that would be great.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
And he'll be speaking?
Thank you.
Yes. May I have, all right? May I have your name and spell your last name?
Nathaniel Epstein, E-P-S-T-E-I-N,
Okay. And your address? Same?
3 Tulipwood Drive.
Okay. Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay. So whoever would like to go first?
Okay, I guess I'll talk. Okay, we'll start with the generator. We're looking to put in a natural gas generator on the side of my house. I'm a corner house, so I have 2 front yards. The generator would be 30, on the application it says 37 feet away from the curb as opposed to 40, which is what's required, but when I actually went to the planning department, Allison there redid my measurements, and she said in actuality, it's 39 feet. And so I'm really only requesting a variance of 1 foot, which is not substantial. There's really only one, due to the location of the gas lines and the power source, there's really no other reasonable place to, location to put the generator. On the other side of the home, which is where the electric comes in, that would be too close to my neighbor's property, and on the side where I'm proposing to put it, that's where the gas is, and that's really the only place to put it. There's no other reasonable location.
I'm sorry, yeah.
The generator wouldn't even be visible from the street. It's a safe distance from the house and from all of the neighboring homes. There would be no adverse effect on the community. It's not visible. Environmentally, it's fine. I need the generator due to my mom's history of falls and fractures. She has very low vision, so not having power would negatively impact her health. So that's very important to us, which is why we need that. Anything else that I forgot?
You got to use the mic, please, as much as you can.
The location of the generator is as close to the house as it could be, and, it's in a fenced-off area of the yard. We have pictures to show that. Is that at all helpful to give you?
That's all.
Yes?
It's okay, yeah.
Okay.
So,
Okay,
now
s-
you want to just,
Okay.
the fence?
Okay, so so I think I've addressed all of those 5 things. Okay, so for the fence, again, the fence is on the cedarwood side of my home, which is the side of my home, but again, it's a corner, so it's considered a front. And I have pictures as well. There's a 6-foot fence, but part of it has already been cut back to 4 feet. And it's very, very far away from the corner of Tulipwood and Cedarwood, and it does not impact in any way motorist vision, pedestrian vision, bicyclists. It's extremely far away. There's shrubbery and foliage, so it doesn't negatively impact the beauty of the neighborhood. And this is not a unique or in any way a special privilege because in our community, in our neighborhood, there are lots of 6-foot fences on corner properties. So it's not something that's so unusual. And I also have a dog that barks sometimes when she's outside, and the 4-foot fence, she would see the heads walking by, and that would negatively impact the environment and the neighbors' comfort. So the 6-foot fence is very, very helpful. Anything else?
I can't think of anything.
Okay,
Okay?
that's it. Thank you.
You don't want us to give you pictures of anything?
No, we're good. Thanks, we got
Okay,
pictures.
thank you.
Planning?
No comments?
Gentlemen,
No questions.
no question. Thank you so much. Yeah. Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Second.
It's regularly moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
Madam Chair, the next case, number 17210, George and Rhoda Basie, 3 Leah's Court, Smithtown. The location of the property, the north side of Leah's Court, 221 feet east of Winston Drive. The property is zoned R21. The applicant requests a variance to reduce the minimum side yard from 16 feet to 8 feet and total side yards from 34 to 26 feet for an existing 140 square foot shed and 743 square foot deck.
Okay. I need the applicant. Okay. May I have your name, please?
Rhoda Basie,
And your address, Rhoda.
3 Lears Court, Smithtown, New York.
All right, raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes,
Would you like this gentleman to speak for you?
yes.
All right, you can sit down then.
Thank you.
You can sit, yep. Right here if you want, right in the front, fine. Yeah, what? I don't think you have to talk, she has somebody here to talk. And your name, please?
Chris Garten, Garten,
And your address?
680 Lockfield Road, East Northport.
Okay, and you raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Okay, so we're here to legalize a raised wood deck and sheds. Both were built without permits. The deck is as old as the house, which was built in 1999. And even though it's encroaching into a side yard by 8 feet, the nearest house, according to the site plan, is 124 feet on that side yard. Therefore, not really impacting or creating any adverse effect to that neighbor, or the neighbor to the rear, or the neighbor to the front of the property. So it's a pretty wooded site, and it's, you know, pretty spread out. The sheds are pretty upscale in design, so they're kind of cutesy-like, and they're also far enough away from neighbors' properties, therefore not creating any adverse effect to the neighborhood. Doesn't change the character of the neighborhood because you can't see the deck or the sheds pretty much from the street. Do we have any questions?
No, we did view the property. All right. Planning?
No comments?
Gentlemen,
No question.
thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
Really moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Madam Chair, the next case, number 17211, Vincent Locasano, 53 Carnegie Drive, Smithtown. The location of the property, the east side of Carnegie Drive, 192 feet south of Navy Drive. The property is zoned R10. The applicant requests a variance to reduce the minimum rear yard from 50 to 39 feet for an existing 372 square foot roof over porch.
May I have your name, please?
My name is Vincent Locasano, Loccisano,
And your address, please?
53 Carnegie Drive, Smithtown.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Would you like this gentleman to speak for you?
Please.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Good evening. My name is Michael Morbillo. I'm the architect for the applicant. My office is located at 1650 Sycamore Avenue in Bohemia, New York.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Okay, you want to tell us why you're here, please?
Yes. We're here before the board for an application for an existing 372 square foot roof over porch on the rear of the house. The structure was built without benefit of a permit approximately 10 years ago. We're seeking a reduction in the rear lot line setback from 50 to 39 feet. This represents an approximately 22% encroachment into the required rear yard setback, which is not substantial. The structure is in character with the neighborhood. There are, it's not uncommon to have porches and other types of structures added onto homes. In the area, it does not have an environmental impact. It's been in the existence for 10 years. There's no other place to put it. It was placed over an existing rear patio, so there's no other place to have this located in the yard. The matter was self-created by the applicant, and if the board has any questions at this time, I'd be happy to answer them.
All right. Planning? Gentlemen?
No, ma'am. No question.
Thank you so much. Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Come up, please. May I have your name, please?
Sitaram Sringaram.
Okay. You're going to have to spell your first and last name.
Seetaram. That's my first name.
Yes, sir.
Last name Srungaram.
Thank you. And where's your address, please?
My address 58 Market Drive. I live south side of applicant property.
Okay. Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
All right. Could you just lift the mic a little bit for yourself? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, good.
No, see, I'm a brand new entry to the neighborhood. I just received this letter. I have no idea of why I received this letter. I don't know anything.
All right.
I just want to know whether it's affecting my property in any way.
Let me tell you why you got the notification.
Okay?
They have to send out to notify people within 200 feet of their property.
Okay?
So all around their property, they have to send out this notice.
Okay?
All right. Whatever is there now is staying the same. They're not adding anything to their property. So the deck that's there, not the deck, over the concrete patio, the overhang. You see that?
Yes.
That's what there's there. That's what they're only asking to legalize.
Oh, they want to legalize?
Yes.
Okay. So
Okay.
in the letter they said they want to reduce the backyard something from 50 feet to 39 feet. I didn't understand what exactly that meant.
That's because of the overhang.
Okay.
Okay?
So it's not, they're not adding anything to the existing property?
No.
Okay, okay.
All right?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
Israeli moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Madam Chair, the next case, number 17212, Nick Regos. The location of the property is the north side of Freeman Avenue, 200 feet west of Spectacle Lake Drive in Wisconsin. The property is zoned R10. The applicant requests a variance to reduce the minimum lot area from 10,000 to 6,250 square feet, increase the gross floor area from 25% to 100% due to environmentally sensitive land. The actual gross floor area would be 26% without the ESL. Permit the minimum buildable lot area from 10,000 square feet to 0 due to the high groundwater. Reduce the minimum lot frontage from 75 to 50 feet. Reduce the minimum side yard from 16 to 11 feet and total side yards from 28 to 23 feet. Permit environmentally sensitive land, depth to groundwater less than 10 feet to be altered for a proposed 1,404 square foot dwelling with 160 square foot attic and 135 square foot porch.
Okay. May I have your name, please?
Nick Gregos, Gregos,
And your address?
number 5 Freeman Avenue, Wisconsin, New York.
Okay. Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Would you like this gentleman to speak for you?
Yes, please.
Good evening, Madam Chairman. Again, for the record, Michael Morbillo, Inspire Design Group, offices at 1650 Sycamore Avenue, Bohemia, New York.
Okay. I've already sworn you in, so.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, the application before you this evening is for the development of a two-story, single-family home, approximately 1,400 square feet, three-bedroom residence with a front porch. We have a few variances this evening that are in front of you, and I'm going to address the environmentally sensitive lands portion last. Primarily, a little history on the lot. The lot is part of an original subdivision that was created at the earlier part of the 20th century. The lot went into, I'll say, single and separate ownership approximately in 1954. It was Mr. Gregos, his family had owned the property adjacent to this parcel that he's looking to develop since that time also. His parents had purchased the adjacent property in 1954. In 1996, Mr. Gregos purchased this other lot that was next door to him. So it came back into single ownership. The lot had been separated. He had purchased it with the intent of someday putting a home on it. And we did submit a single and separate title report to the board. But it doesn't, fully meet the criteria of single separateness because of the fact that he now owns the property. He owns both parcels. He owns the house directly to the west, and he owns the parcel that's before you this evening. So just for a little bit of a history on the property. The property is 50 feet wide, so we're seeking a reduction in frontage from 75 to 50 feet, which is approximately a 33% reduction. We're also seeking for the proposed residence a reduction in the total side yards from 28 feet to 23 feet, which is an 18% reduction in the total side yards. We're also seeking a reduction from a minimum side yard from 16 to 11 feet. Lastly, we're looking at a reduction in the lot area, which is from 10,000 square feet to 6,250. Again, this lot has existed. It's a separate tax parcel and has existed for some time now. The remainder of the requests, as far as increasing the maximum permitted gross floor area from 25% to 100%, is due to the proximity of groundwater. The site is sloping. It's a little bit higher in the front, and it slopes approximately about 10 feet to the rear of the property, 8 to 10 feet from front to back. There is a small portion on the front of the property, which is about 11 to 12 feet above the groundwater level, but since it's such a small area, I believe that to be prudent, the building inspector just figured the whole site as being within an environmentally sensitive area. The groundwater elevation is actually at elevation 59.5, with the front of the lot being at elevation 73, and sloping down to an elevation of approximately 64 in the rear. So we've set back the house a little bit so we can fit certainly a septic system in the front yard, and we have placed it in an area that is consistent with adjacent development as far as the location from the front property line. The proposed house will not have an environmental impact because we will be meeting the requirements for runoff and stormwater collection. We will also have a new septic system in the front yard. The house will meet the general character of the neighborhood. The house, the neighborhood has a lot of ranches. It also has a handful of colonial homes. There are also a handful of 50-foot wide lots in the neighborhood. It's a smaller, quaint neighborhood. And we're not proposing a large house. It's a 3-bedroom colonial. Again, approximately is a footprint of about 700 square feet. With the 2 stories, it's about 1,400 square feet. So, we feel that we are in character with the neighborhood. And certainly, the matter can be considered self-created, but my client has not changed the dimensions of the lot since its creation from the original map of the area was established. It's a map of Spectacle Lake Park. So for these reasons, we're seeking approval of the request before you this evening, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them at this time.
Planning?
Madam Chair, as you know, we did do a inspection of the site yesterday
Yes,
and
we
the
did.
immediate neighborhood. As Mr. Morbillo did mention, I think the size of the proposed home is probably within the character of the neighborhood. There are a lot of 1-story homes without garages. There are several substandard sized lots, although I wouldn't say that 6,200 square feet is typical for the area, but they do exist, and they are improved and they are constructed upon. I think the biggest concern here would be the fact that there is high groundwater and that the property does slope from a higher elevation down to a much lower elevation closer to the groundwater. I just have a couple of questions for Mr. Morbillo.
Certainly.
I think you said that the property slopes down to about 64 feet
Correct.
elevation?
Yes.
And the high groundwater is at about 59?
59, correct.
So you're approximately 5 feet above the high groundwater?
That's correct.
Does the proposal include a slab foundation or a basement?
At this point, we have a basement in there, but because that part will be above the groundwater, being that I'm just going to grab the survey, being that the first floor is at elevation 73, and we would expect that the basement floor would be approximately elevation 64. It can accommodate a basement. So at this point, yeah, we do have a basement in the proposal. As far as just to mention about the proximity to the groundwater in the back, we are proposing 3 shallow ring storm pools to be located in the rear yard, maintain at least 2 feet above the ground, the water table for its placement.
That actually leads to my next question
Okay.
regarding the pools. Have you contacted the health department at all with respect to the sanitary system?
We haven't put an application before them at this point because of the fact that we wanted to have a zoning board of approval, approval first before we went to see them. But part of their typical review does require that a zoning variance be granted on the property.
Right. And just one more question. Is
Sure.
there any proposal to add fill to the property to increase the grade?
No, not at this time. We're looking to maintain a natural grade, which, could mean that there'll be a little bit of exposure of the foundation in the back of the house, but we're not looking to create any off-site runoff create any drainage circumstances where there'll be any water collecting or sloping towards any adjacent properties.
Okay, thank you very much. That's it for us, Madam Chair.
Gentlemen?
Okay.
Did you submit anything that shows us that it's single and separate?
I did submit it to the,
It should be in the file.
yeah,
Okay.
did submit it to the planning department.
Okay. Gentlemen, any other?
No question.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Come up, please. May I have your name, please?
Noreen Cleary,
Spell your last name.
Pardon?
Spell your last name
Cleary,
and your address.
24 Spectacle Lake Drive, Wisconsin.
Okay, raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. We live on the north side of Nick's property, And we have a couple of concerns. Number one being the groundwater, the water table, because the land slopes right down into our yard. And I think our other concern is the frontage, the width of the frontage, which is rather small in relation to the rest of the neighborhood.
Okay.
That's it.
All right, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Okay. I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
Is really moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
Madam Chair, the next case, number 17213, Nancy Palmieri, the estate of Antonio Lovaglio. The location of the property is the east side of Birch Road, 460 feet north of Woodlawn Road in Kings Park. The property is zoned R10. The applicant requests a variance to reduce the minimum lot area from 10,000 to 4,000 square feet, reduce the minimum lot frontage from 75 to 40 feet.
Good evening, Madam Chairwoman, members of the board. My name is John Zolo, attorney on behalf of the estate of Antonio Lovaglio. I am appearing on behalf of the estate tonight. I presented the filing of the notice affidavit of posting and affidavit of mailing. With respect to this property, it bears Suffolk County Tax Map number 18-70-70. The property is located on the east side of Birch Road, approximately 460 feet north of Woodland Road in Kings Park, in the area of Kings Park, affectionately known and referred to as San Remo. It is identified in the map of San Remo as lots number 2186 and 2187. The property is zoned R10, and this particular parcel is 40 feet by 100 feet. To the north of the property is a town sump. To the south is a single-family home. To the east is a single-family home. And across the street to the west is also a single-family home. Antonio Lovaglio took title to this property in 1946. Shows the deed of November 9, 1946. He deeded out tax lot number 72, which would be the parcel to the north, on November 16, 1946. The property has been in single and separate ownership since 1946. I believe the date of significance with respect to this area is February 19, 1950, concerning single and separate status. This is a non-conforming lot. For the board's convenience and for your review, I have copies of the single and separate search, which I'll provide.
Okay, just give them to me, I'll pass them out, it's easier. Yep, good. Pass one over to
41 by 100 lots are not unique to the San Remo area. Small lots have come to be the character of the area in San Remo, and it is defined as a quaint community in the Kings Park area, and it has been known as San Remo for many years. We're asking for area variances. One, to reduce the minimum lot area from 10,000 feet to 4,000 feet, and to reduce the minimum lot frontage from 75 feet to 40 feet. I have, for the board, copies of decisions. Well, let me backtrack. Within a 200-foot radius of these of this property, which is tax lot number 70, there are 4 lots that are 40 by 100. Tax lots number 53, 21, 74, and 68. Tax lot 53 had a BZA case number asking for variances similar to what is being sought tonight. That would be case number 5357. Lot number 21 also obtained variances. That would be case number 5309. And lot number 68 also received variances under case number 5534. Within the same 200-foot radius, there were also several 60 by 100 lots. I came up with 3, and on tax lot 67.1, there was a variance granted, reducing the area from 10,000 to 6,000, and that was in the case number 8440. For the board's reference, I have copies of those decisions.
Thank you.
And as this board is aware, the decisions of this board have a precedential value, and I believe that the granting of the variances for lots of similar dimension would be reasonable to hope and expect that this board would grant the same variances for this parcel. The board takes a look at the balancing test, and I do not believe granting the variances requested here would have an undesirable change in the neighborhood, in the character of the neighborhood. In fact, these type of lots, the small lots, are what is, in my opinion, the character of San Remo. We can't achieve the benefit by any other way. We have to come to this board. It's a non-conforming lot that's been in single and separate ownership since 1946, and I believe that there is no other way to do this except coming to this board for the relief. The area variance, based upon the size of the lot, based upon the surrounding community, although it might appear substantial, is not substantial. Again, keeping in with the character of this area, I believe that the board, in granting the relief requested, will be consistent with their prior decisions, and obviously the alleged difficulty was not self-created. One of the things I want to point out to the board, you don't have any plans before you or anything with respect to a house. Estate of Antonio Lavaglio. Antonio Lavaglio bought this property in 1946, and he passed away in the 70s. He had a son, Nicholas Lavaglio, who I was asked to try to help out with the estate. And unfortunately, during that process, Nicholas Lavaglio passed away. So we have Nicholas Lavaglio's daughter, or Antonio's granddaughter, Nancy Palmieri, has been appointed the administratrix of the estate because Antonio left no will. And the only real asset the estate has is this piece of property. So the expectation is, and hopefully this board will see fit to grant the relief requested, is they don't want to build this parcel. They just want to be able to have it determined to be a buildable lot and then receive development credits for it and get the value of the parcel that way. The parcel is at 40 by 100. It's in a residential neighborhood, and the hope is that they can get the value through the transfer of development rights, and they don't want to build on this property. And at this point, unless the board has any questions concerning this application, I have nothing else to add, and I thank you for your time.
Okay. Planning?
Madam Chair, as the board is aware, planning did prepare a memo on this application. I believe the board members all have a copy of it. For the most part, I think that Mr. Zolo has touched upon every point that we did make in the memo. I certainly agree with just about everything he said regarding the application. Most importantly is that we're very happy about the fact that the applicant does not wish to develop the property. In fact, they're seeking to get the lot approved as a buildable lot in order to sell the building rights or the flow rights to the property to someone who needs them in another area of town. So with that, we certainly have no objection to the board, if they so choose, to approve the application. It just may, as a suggestion to the board may consider perhaps if they do approve the application, make it subject to a condition where the lot will not be built upon.
Okay.
And we would have no objection to that if the board were to grant this request, as I hope you will.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
thank you. Anything else, gentlemen?
No question.
Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? All right. As soon as Mr. Zola leaves, you can come back. It's all right. All right. May I have, when you come up, may I have your name, please?
Andrew DeChara.
Wait a minute. Okay.
Andrew DeChara.
Spell your last name, Andrew.
D as in David, I-C-H-I-A-R-A.
All right, and your address?
60 St. Nicholas Avenue, Smithtown, New York.
Okay, raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
So help me God.
Thank you.
I own the property right next to this property, 133 Birch Road. I'm on the south side of this property. I'd like to know how this affects me. I have a fence there. I dealt with the owner before. This property, I don't know if, just to give you a little update on this property used to be 100 by 100. And the town took 60 foot to make it a sump. So it wound up to be 40 by 100.
Right.
My question is, I have a fence there. Whatever he's doing with this property, any problems in his property, how does it affect me? As far as, like the property has that bamboo growing wild in it. And it's coming onto my property. And it's hell taking it, I mean, getting it away, you know, chopping it down and stuff. How does this affect me? So if there's problems with that property, something, what happens with, who's responsible? The town of Smithtown?
I'll have Mr. Zolo address that.
All right,
you.
and that's another thing. I would like to see the survey on that property, if they have it, because I'd like to see where my fence is.
Yeah, here's, you want to look at this? Is your fence on their property?
I don't know.
Why don't you go back to the podium and Guess what?
I think it is, yeah. This dotted line is a fence. It's my fence.
Yeah,
That fence has been there since 1986.
I know, but
What's that?
it's not on your property, though.
Yeah, but squatters' rights.
Oh, no, it
I
isn't.
dealt with squatters' rights before in the past.
Yeah.
Squatters' rights, it's been there since 1986. You can Google map it, do whatever you want.
But just,
But that's on, that fence, I'm not moving that fence. I'm not moving that fence for him or the other guy. I'm not moving it, all right?
Okay.
It's been there so long, it's squatters' rights.
It's not squatters' rights, but.
Yeah,
you
there is
can-
squatters'
okay.
rights, madam.
I'm not going to
After
argue with
7
you.
years, I've been through it. I dealt with it, I know it. But I'd like to know how it affects me with this. Who's responsible for the bamboo? Because there is a bamboo problem in there.
Okay,
All
thank
right?
you. Mhm. Welcome. Go ahead. Was there, I don't think there was anyone else. I didn't see anyone else's hand. Oh, well, people, please come up and stand here so I don't realize. If anyone else is speaking, please line up here. Let me
I
have your name,
apologize, I
please.
didn't know the rules. My name is Allison Warby, W-O-R-O-B-E-Y. I live on 134 Aspen Road, which is, I don't know, directional, the east behind the house by the sump.
Now raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
I'm a layman. I own the house diagonally across. I don't know what I got the notice. I just kind of need it explained to me, what is happening with the land. There is a house built on it. I don't know if it's coming down, it's staying up, parcels. I just need it explained.
I'm going to ask, please, do not talk from the audience. There is no house on this piece of property. Okay? They're not going to build anything on this piece of property. They're going to use it for TDR, to transfer the water units, all right? So that someone in the town of Smithtown, if they need something from the health department, any units, they can use those, and this piece of property will not be built on.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Hope that. Anyone else? Okay, Mr. Zolo.
I suspect it's an adverse possession, but what I'll do is I'll talk to the gentleman, perhaps we'll work on a boundary line agreement, but that doesn't affect this board granting the relief requested. And if we have an issue of bamboo, if you take a look at the property, which I suspect the board already has taken a drive-by.
We did.
Yeah, can't see anything from the road, but if we have responsibility to do something on the property, we will. Antonio Lavaglio's been gone since '73, but I will, if there's a problem, we'll take care of it.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Okay. I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
Rarely moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Madam Chair, the next case, number 17214, John and Elizabeth Hunt, 228 7th Avenue, St. James. The location of the property, the southwest corner of 7th Avenue and 7th Street. The property is zoned R10. Thank you. The applicant requests a variance for a proposed 94-square-foot addition to a non-conforming structure to reduce the minimum rear yard setback from 35 feet to 26 feet for an existing garage addition.
May I have your name, please?
John Hunt,
And your address, John?
228 7th Avenue, St. James.
Okay. Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. You want to tell us why you're here, please?
Let me address first the rear yard setback. Our previous variance several years ago to make a family room and garage extension, all the concern and discussion was about the additional front yard that goes to 7th Street, and nobody ever picked up on the fact that it was going to be a little closer to the rear line. So it wasn't an issue then. But we discovered at the planning department that it needed to be addressed, so they added it onto this variance application. This variance application initially was for a bathroom extension that we'd like to put on the south end of our house. It measures 11'9" by 6'4". It's been designed by an architect to fit in with the rest of the way the house looks, and we'll still have, I think, it's 18 feet remaining to the property line. It'll be plumbed into existing plumbing for the house, so there's no issues about anything like that. Let's see. I don't believe it's an undesirable change in any way because it's been designed to look like the rest of the house. The benefit of having the bathroom would be for our use and for, future resale. Let's see.
Let me just ask a question. Was there a variance approved to that 18 feet?
I don't believe so, no.
No.
And it's not advertised, doesn't need to be advertised?
No, because he meets the,
The
in essence,
co-
the side yard setback. Because
Okay.
he's R10, he would need a minimum of 12 feet.
Okay, fine. Okay.
Yeah, the mention on the variance about the backyard setback was a carryover because it wasn't addressed and caught when our other variance was done about 10 years ago.
Okay,
I think it's just there as a technicality,
all right. Planning, anything?
No, no comments?
Gentlemen? Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
Rarely moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Madam Chair, the next case, number 17215, Michael Brennan, 310 Rose Lane, Smithtown. The location of the property, the south side of Rose Lane, 592 feet west of Brookside Drive. The property is zoned R21. Thanks. The applicant is requesting a variance to increase the maximum height from 15 feet to 17 feet, increase the maximum square footage from 750 to 1,080 square feet for a proposed detached garage.
May I have your name, please?
My name is Michael Brennan,
And your address, Michael?
310 Rose Lane, Smithtown, New York.
Raise your right hand.
11787.
I'm sorry.
11787.
Okay. Raise your right hand, please. You swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Would you like this gentleman to speak for you?
Yeah.
Okay. May I have your name, please?
Sure, it's Robert Miller, 7 Norton Drive, Smithtown, and I am the architect for the applicant.
Okay. Raise your right hand, please. You swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do. So I'm basically going to speak to the technical aspects of what Mr. Brennan proposes, and then he will follow that up with what he proposes the use to be for this detached garage. Basically, Mr. Brennan proposes to construct this detached garage at the rear southeastern corner of his property. The garage is proposed to be approximately 36 by 30 and maintain an 8-foot side yard setback with a 12-foot rear yard setback. Mr. Brennan is requesting a variance to increase the maximum height from 15 to 17 feet and the maximum size from 750 to 1,080. I'd like to point out that the closest structure to the proposed location, other than a neighboring 8-foot by 10-foot shed, would be about approximately 80 feet away and would be a neighbor's detached garage, or it's possibly a barn of some sort. That property is to the rear and south of Mr. Brennan's property. That property is located at 326 Forest Lane. The other closest structure to it on the same property would be an in-ground pool of the approximate same distance from the proposed location. In my professional opinion, I don't think that this would negatively impact the area of the neighborhood, the character of the neighborhood. As it is hidden, this proposed location would be pretty much hidden from view. It's heavily vegetated in that corner of the property. And Mr. Brennan would like to explain what he would be using the garage for.
Okay, fine.
How you doing?
Just lift the mic so that...
Okay.
Go ahead.
Is that good?
Yeah, better, thank you.
Yeah, I have, over the few years, I've collected some collector cars, and I've been paying for storage for those for about $250 a month. And I never had a garage on my property, but now I'm retired, and I can't afford to pay those fees anymore, so I'd like to bring my cars and put them on my property and put them in a garage so they can be out of the weather. And I need the height for some storage because I have a small house. I need to get some storage because my house doesn't have much storage in it. It's almost an original house for the area. And that's it.
Okay, good. Planning? Okay.
I just have a question for you. Are you putting a lift in the garage?
I was thinking about putting one in just to store one more car on top of another.
Oh, just for storage?
Yeah, just for storage.
Thank you.
Planning?
Just one question regarding the height and the storage in the garage. Will that be a full stand-up headroom type storage area?
No.
Or is it more like, a little crawl space where you're keeping things?
No, I can give you an approximate, I think I have a detail here. The maximum height would be approximately 4.5 feet.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Gentlemen, any other questions?
No, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Okay. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Second.
It's barely moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
Madam Chair, the next case, number 17216, Katie Blumenthal, 35 Woodfield Avenue, Fort Salonga. Location of the property is the southeast corner of Linwood Lane and Woodfield Avenue. The property is zoned R43. The applicant requests a variance to reduce the minimum front yard setback on Woodfield Avenue from 60 to 53 feet, increase the square footage of an attached garage from 750 to 1,095 square feet for a proposed 701 square foot attached garage addition, increase the front yard paving on Woodfield Avenue from 25 to 29%, permit an accessory structure in the required side yard, and reduce the minimum side yard setback from 24 to 0 feet for an existing 96 square foot shed.
May I have your name, please?
Daniel Blumenthal,
And your address, Daniel.
35 Woodfield Avenue.
Raise your right hand, please. You swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
I affirm.
Okay, thank you. Okay, may I have your name, please?
Yes, Madam Chair. My name is John Kniff, John Kniff Architects. Office is 11 Stony Brook Avenue, Stony Brook, New York.
Okay, raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do, thank you.
Spell your last name, please.
It is Cunniffe. F as in Frank. Madam Chair, members of the board, thank you for hearing our case this evening. The sort of genesis of this was the start of planning for a two-car garage addition to the single-family residence on 35 Woodfield Avenue. Upon the sort of getting into the planning of it and review a little bit with the building department, we found that there are some things we need to clean up on this. And I'll start with the first variance relief request from your zoning chapter 32-9B for a front yard setback. The actual garage addition, which you'll see in the survey and the architectural drawings that were provided to you, we are asking that the front face of that garage come forward of the house for a few reasons, but nonetheless, we are asking for 7 foot of relief, which actually diminishes to roughly 3'6" or 3'8" along the course of that, so it's not an entire 7 foot setback relief request. It diminishes a little bit. Well, first and foremost, we don't feel that it will adversely affect the character of the neighborhood with just that minimal amount of request. And we actually think it'll strengthen the architecture of the house. We also note that the actual property line, there is a 10-foot buffer to the actual street to Woodfield Avenue, which is very generous in and of itself. And it's sort of, it helps with sort of complying with the spirit of the front yard setback requirement of 60 feet. We did look at other alternatives. Obviously, that's sort of a glaring question. And there are a few, two technical requirements that we're trying to avoid. A sort of nasty roof construction on the back end if we had pushed this entire addition towards the back. We'd first off, we have carefully planned the size of this, so it's not overly done, but yet it's going to accommodate the Blumenthals. And if we had pushed the volume as proposed back, we would be knocking out and having to reset a line set for an existing air handler, and we'd be getting awfully close to some of the windows to the interior of the house. So we did sort of take that into consideration in the planning, and we felt that asking for a relief, given the other character and nature of the site circumstances, that it would be worth asking for relief to avoid upsetting that condition. And more so, I think there's this whole paved area, which you'll see kind of wraps around those, I guess it'd be the south side of it. And if we had brought the whole thing back, we'd want to continue that paving. And although it's behind the front yard setback, and there's that section that is not actually part of the calculations for the front yard paving, I think in the spirit and nature of the actual paving code in and of itself, we'd hate to have to sort of yet again add some asphalt to the frontscape of the property. So keeping this thing forward, I think, is sort of a win for everybody, and we're hoping that you would consider that relief. And that obviously brings me to 32-12-I-18, which is our 3% negligible difference for paving. We do have a wraparound driveway that we will be modifying to accommodate backing up cars out of the new two-car garage. And actually moving that driveway, the one inlet driveway, does actually help. We're on a little bit of a curve there, and it helps with the sight line. And at a 3% increase, I just want to note that that 3% increase also includes roughly 278 square feet of paving that's actually behind the front yard setback, which the folks at the planning department told me wouldn't actually be part of the front yard paving. So we're really, in actuality, less than 3%, although I included it in the calculations just because I understand the spirit of this being that you don't want to just pave everybody's front lawns. But we feel that it's very minimal. It would not really impact, at 3%, not impact the character and nature of what's been standing there for quite some time. Moving on to a little stumbling block in review of the architectural plans, the balance of the space, the existing two-car garage space, which the Blumenthals have been using primarily for storage for their children's hockey gear and an unheated exercise room for their enjoyment, which is the reason why they said, you know what, we want to get a garage. We wanted to get the cars off the driveway because they just are not able to use the garage with their current lifestyle. So that's where sort of the project was born. And we'd like to leave that room as is, which then, technically speaking, the garage square footage bumps up over the 750. And we felt, again, asking for the relief, had we finished that room to be habitable, then we wouldn't actually have to ask for the relief. And we just find that based on the architectural elevations and the planning, that actual space isn't going to look any more undomesticated than it would if it was just finished. So I don't really see any sort of net effect for leaving it. It doesn't offer the opportunity to park yet another car in the garage. And I'm not entirely certain what the spirit of the code is to minimize this, if it's the matter of having more than 2 garage bays facing the street or 4 garage bays and trying to reduce the overall square footage of garages in general in the town of Smithtown. I'd fully understand that. And I know the Blumenthals don't plan to park a 3rd car, have another 3rd bay on the front of the house. So moving on to our sort of last relief request. The Blumenthals had purchased a home. Obviously, there was an existing shed, and when they understand that they're responsible to conform. And this little 96 square foot shed is popped up on the survey and on the radar, and we obviously understand that if not set back from the rear yard 100 foot and not off the side yard property 2 feet, with those two things being equal, we're obviously non-conforming as it should be 24 feet off the side yard property. I just want to note, and we did provide some photos, there's some stands of trees around it as well. There's an electric hookup to this existing shed, and there's also a little dry well drainage. Exactly why, I have no idea. It's just a small shed, but there is a dry well taking a leader and gutter from the shed. So we're asking to actually leave the shed in place as our sort of first priority. There's probably some options to move it. However, given the constraints of some of the existing conditions around it, and the fact that I think, if I could just may for a moment. That shed basically off of the side yard property and offset from the rear yard at 125 feet, it's really only 25 feet out of the zone where we'd actually need relief from, with the exception of that 2-foot setback, which I actually wanted to note is actually on the survey as 1 foot off. I think the variance request asked for 0, but it is actually 1 foot off the property line. So, given those circumstances, I'd love for the board to agree with this assessment. And I'll open up for any questions or comments regarding this. Actually, I just want to add one other item to the shed situation. We did just kindly ask the neighbor if they had a just overall look at the application in general and review it with us as well, specifically regarding the shed, and they did feel compelled just to provide a letter to the board stating that currently they don't have a problem with it. I know that that's not everything, but if it will help our plea to maintain this, it would be appreciated. I'd like to present that.
Thank you.
So again, to conclude, I'll take some questions, comments from the board if they...
Planning?
I was just wondering if you could clarify a couple of questions regarding the existing garage and the proposed addition.
Sure.
The existing garage right now is 750 square feet?
It's very close. No, it's actually under. I have actually an interior dimension of 19 by 17, which is roughly 330 square feet. So we're under the maximum allowable anyway.
Okay. And the addition that you're proposing on the survey is approximately 700 square feet?
Yes, I have an interior dimension of 665, but gross it would be 700.
Okay, so putting those together, you come up with 1,095 square feet?
Correct.
And that will be all garage space?
Correct.
Okay, and I think you mentioned 3-car?
No, it'll be a 2-car bay
It'll be
garage.
a 2-car?
Yes.
Okay. And you did mention that there was a dry well with respect to the shed that's on the side property line?
Yes, you'll note it on the survey. It's right next to the shed. That's the subject shed in question.
There is no plumbing inside the shed?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Okay.
It's actually just taking the gutter for some reason.
That's good construction. Okay,
I guess
thank you.
yeah, it is. That's something else. I haven't seen that in quite some time. I thank you for your questions.
Gentlemen?
No.
Okay, thank you so much.
And thank you, and have a good evening.
Okay. Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Ready, moved, and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Madam Chair, the next case, number 17217, Margaret Hartigan, 206 6th Street, St. James. The location of the property, the southeast corner of 6th Street and 4th Avenue. The property is zoned R10. Thank you very much. The applicant requests a variance to reduce the front yard setback on 4th Street for an existing 6-foot fence from edge of road pavement from 20 to 13 feet.
May I have your name, please?
Margaret Hartigan,
And your address, Margaret?
206 6th Street, St. James.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
I guess I'm here tonight to reduce the setback on the side street from 20 feet to 13 feet. When I bought the home, the fence existed, so I haven't done anything to it. I wasn't aware that it didn't have the permit or whatever. And it doesn't affect anything with the corner as far as traffic or any vision problems. It doesn't change the character of the neighborhood. And to move it, I think there's a big oak tree behind it, and there's landscaping and stuff. So, anything else?
Did you get a summons or something to come in here?
Yes.
Oh, you did. Okay. All right. Planning?
No comments on the fence, but just a quick question for you regarding the affidavits. Do you have the large green cards?
Yes.
When we're done, if you could just give them to me, that would be great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone here that would like to, first of all, planning, do you have anything?
No comments.
Gentlemen?
No question.
Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? All right. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
Okay, thank you very much. Madam Chair, the next case, number 17218, my apologies in advance if I get the last name wrong, Chris Arkazewski, 77 Stephen Place, Smithtown, the location of the property, the north side of Stephen Place, 706 feet south of Cortlandt Row. The property is zoned R15. The applicant requests a variance to permit environmentally sensitive land, depth to groundwater, less than 10 feet, to be altered for a proposed in-ground pool. Permit a pool to be within 100 feet of a wetland.
May I have your name, please?
Chris Elchishevsky,
And your address?
77 Stephen Place, Smithtown, New York, 11787.
Raise your right hand, please. You swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Would you like this gentleman to speak for you?
Yes.
May I have your name and spell your last name?
Absolutely, Madam Chair. Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Albert Nassis of Dornfeld and Nassis, 145 Marcus Boulevard, Hauppauge, New York, 11787. On behalf of Mr. Archijewski and his wife, Anna Diajak, with regards to this variance tonight. Last name is Nassis. N is in Nancy, A, S is in Sam, I, S.
All right, you're an attorney. I won't swear you in.
Yes, Judge. Yes, Madam
Okay.
Chair.
Go ahead.
Madam Chair, just to give you some perspective of why we're here today, we're requesting a variance to permit environmentally sensitive land to be altered for an in-ground pool and to permit a pool to be built within 100 feet of wetland. To give the board some context of why we're requesting this variance, Mr. Archijewski back in 2007 had a work-related incident which was a near-fatal accident. He's been treating for pain ever since. His doctors today suggest a pool for therapeutic reasons, and that is the reason why we are requesting a variance for a pool. With regards to the 5 areas of consideration, the variance would not produce an undesirable change or a negative impact on adjacent properties or the neighborhood. If the board would simply Google Earth the premises, it can see that approximately 1 out of every 3 houses on Stephen Place has a pool. The surrounding areas also have in-ground pools. With regards to item number 2 of consideration, the request for a variance cannot be achieved by any alternative means because there's no other means or method to construct an in-ground pool. Number 3 of consideration, the request is not substantial as there would be no aesthetic adverse impact on the community, nor there would be any encroachment on any surrounding properties. The setback provisions of 8 feet would be adhered to, if not more. Currently, we're unaware of any potential for negative impact for pool excavation to the adjacent wetlands, as well as is evidenced by the other pools on that block that are also adjacent to the wetlands. With regards to variance consideration number 4, the variance would not cause or adversely impact the environment because the high groundwater would be pumped out and there would be adherence to all current setback provisions. And with regards to the last consideration, the difficulty here was not created by Mr. Archijewski or Ms. Dijak. They bought the premises. The wetlands were there. Suffolk County owns the adjacent parcel to the left of the property. Smithtown owns the property to the back. We respectfully request that the board give its favorable consideration to Mr. Archijewski and Ms. Dijak.
Planning?
Just 1 or 2 questions for you. There was a test hole done on the property to determine the depth to the groundwater?
No, there wasn't.
There was not. Okay. Normally, the environmental department requires a test hole be done before they'll actually do an environmental review to determine if they would issue a negative or a positive secret declaration on this. That's the reason I asked is I was curious to know if it was done in the approximate location of where the pool is proposed to go, just to get an idea of what the depth to the groundwater in that area would be.
It was not done. If it's a requirement, it will be done.
Okay. Second question is regarding the fence. I'm pretty certain that I did see this on another survey when I was looking through the file. Right now, there's an existing post and wire fence, and if I recall correctly, that's being removed.
Squatters' rights, squatters' rights.
Squatters' rights.
No, with all seriousness, yes, that will be removed.
And there's a new fence
yes.
going up.
Correct.
Okay. And one last question for you. I asked the lady prior, do you happen to have the large green cards?
Absolutely.
When we're done, you can give them to me.
Yeah. And I just read the environmental report. You need a test hole.
Yes, I did receive a letter,
Okay.
unfortunately today, from the town of Smithtown, requiring or asking for test hole data,
Okay.
and I will provide that.
good, thank you.
Just as a recommendation, because you can't have it done anywhere on the property you want, I would have it done in the general vicinity of where the pool is going.
Absolutely. So, all right, thank you.
Is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved. Second.
Really moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
He just could have the attorney could have just come up. I didn't realize he was in it.
Madam Chair, the next case, number 17219, Tanya and Dion Rupa, 115 Birch Road, Kings Park. The location of the property, the east side of Birch Road, 240 feet north of Woodland Drive. The property is zoned R10. The applicant is requesting a special exception for temporary living quarters for parents, a variance of a special exception standard to increase temporary living quarters from 600 square feet to 720 square feet, a variance of a special exception standard that requires the floor plan be economical and practical to convert back to a single-family use, variance of a special exception standard that requires compliance with the maximum floor area requirements, increase the FAR from 25 to 34%, reduce the minimum rear yard setback from 35 to 32 feet for a two-story addition. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. May I have your name? I need the applicant first.
Good evening. My name is Dion Rupa. I reside at 115 Birch Road in Kings Park, New York.
Okay. Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Would you like this gentleman to speak for you?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you.
My name is Joseph Walker, 270 Ronkonkoma Avenue in Ronkonkoma, 11779.
Spell your last name?
Walker.
Okay, no, sure. And raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. Madam Chairman, members of the board, I just wanted to give you some perspective of how we came to be here tonight. The homeowner's parents were affected by Superstorm Sandy. They had rebuilt their house in Queens, and at this point, because of medical conditions and increased age, we're looking to live with the homeowner and his wife, not because they needed a particular amount of help, but to increase independence going into the future. This particular house and this particular parcel has been the subject of a hearing before this board twice previously, once approximately 1985 and once approximately 1990. In determining and coming to a conclusion of how we could meet the needs of the homeowner and his parents, it became evident that no matter what we did with this property, it would require a variance. Whether we went to the sides, the front, or the rear, it would require a variance. So what we came up with was a second floor addition for a proposed accessory apartment for the parents with the staircase on the outside so that the stairs could be made wider to accommodate the need for a lift, a chair lift that goes up and down in the future. The second floor, we feel, would not be inconsistent with the existing neighborhood. This is in San Remo. There's many small lots there. There are second stories all over the neighborhood, immediately to the south, immediately to the east, and then down the street, which would be to the north. So it's really not inconsistent with respect, to what is there. With respect to planning's concern about the FAR going to 34%, if you do not take into consideration the square footage required for the staircase, in the back of the house, which nobody could live in a staircase, then the FAR becomes 0.321%, which is closer to the 30% which was recommended. So depending how FAR is calculated, if it's calculated on living space, certainly no one lives in a staircase. It's merely a conduit to go from point to point. With respect to the other items as far as alternate, as you can see, no matter what we do, we're going to require a variance for this property. We don't feel that it was self-inflicted because at this point it's still proposed, and I don't see any how it's going to have an environmentally negative impact on the neighborhood because the architectural design would be consistent with the neighborhood. It's in San Remo. There are other second-story houses in the immediate and general vicinity. As far as an alternate, again, there's nothing else that we could do, no matter what we do. It's going to require a variance. With respect to the self-inflicted idea or concept, when the homeowner purchased the house, they were not aware that it had been the subject of a previous variance hearing, so or that there would be restrictions with respect to lot size, et cetera. With respect to the proposed setback of 32 feet to the rear, the degree of relaxation for that, immediately to the backyard, there is a shed which is previously approved by this board, and then behind that there is a garage which appears to be higher than the 15 feet which is allowable, and is certainly a significant distance from the existing house. Now, with respect to planning's concern about where the staircase is, in that bedroom, if we put the staircase has to comply with the particular rise and run. We were going to make the staircase so the step is less than the required 8.125 inches, so for the ease of people going up and down the stairs and to make it comfortable and safe. Now, the question of whether or not the addition could be placed in the rear and keep it on the first floor to avoid stairs, then it would require a greater variance request and more relaxation than what we have planned now. So I think taking all of those considerations into account, if you want to balance the needs of all parties that are concerned with respect to the interest of the homeowner, with respect to the interest in the needs of his parents, and of course what the requirements of the town are, we would hope that the board may view this case favorably.
How are you going to convert it back to a single-family use? Will you be removing that staircase?
Oh, I'm sorry, I did not address that. That's actually pretty easy. If you're going to convert it back into single-family use, all you have to do is remove the kitchen and the lines going to the kitchen. Then you would have a bedroom upstairs and you would have a den upstairs. So I fail to recognize how that could possibly be, considered difficult to do. That's a day's work.
And that staircase would remain?
The staircase could remain because that would just become then a regular second-floor addition with a bedroom and a den upstairs. It could be a bedroom and a den. It could be a bedroom and a home office. It could be a bedroom and a studio for art or what have you.
Why would you need access out of that second floor?
I beg your pardon?
Why would you need to be access to get out, a staircase to get down to the ground?
Well, you'd have to have...
Huh?
There's no other way up there.
For now, but if he wanted to change it to single family, why would he need that staircase?
I have to go from the first floor to the second floor.
Oh, that's, you can't
I mean,
put it
there's no other
inside.
way unless I'm going to get a helicopter, an elevator, or
But you
call
can't
Peter.
put it inside, right?
Well, the idea, if you look at the original plans of the house, which I have with me incidentally, the first floor of the house is a massive cathedral ceiling there. We're trying to preserve the cathedral ceiling because as a whole, the house is smaller, so we want to retain that square footage, we want to retain the volume of the room. The staircase where it is now allows us to go up and down, and it complies with with the needs of entering into a foyer area to a second floor.
Okay. All right. Planning?
Madam Chair, as the board is aware, planning did prepare an advisory report. All of the board members have received a copy of it. and I'm sure have read it. We have the two big concerns that we see here that could possibly be a problem for the board in terms of reviewing the application is certainly the increase in the FAR to 34%. That number is greater than what the board has on average and typically granted in the past for an increase in in-floor area. Because it is an undersized lot, the bulk of the house is going to be visually larger than on a 10,000 square foot lot, which at that point they wouldn't have an FAR issue. The second issue that we have with it is that they're asking for 20% more in terms of floor area for the temporary living quarters than is permitted by the code. So it's a 20% increase from 600 to 720 square feet. With respect to the staircase, we mentioned in the planning advisory report that revising the plans and getting that staircase actually inside the house would make it more like a traditional two-story home with respect to its layout. A standard two-story home doesn't really have a staircase that's on the back of the house, that's enclosed, where you walk out the back wall into a staircase, up a staircase, and then through a back wall into the second floor. On the proposed plans, it does show that there is a bedroom back there currently, and that they would want to convert that to a foyer. If they did, in fact, were permitted to build this second-story addition. So it certainly wouldn't be out of character to have a staircase going from the first to the second floor in a foyer area. Regarding the other variances, if the staircase were moved inside the house, there would be no need to reduce the rear yard setback. That's really about it.
Okay.
Can I respond to?
Of course. Just let me ask you, does anyone else have any questions?
I just have a
Wait
couple
till all the
things.
questions and then.
One, I don't see a way into that staircase. Is there going to be, the door's obviously going to go from the exterior into that staircase?
You're going to have to go back to the, go ahead, and then go back.
Oh, yeah, no, I was trying to track that. This is oh, that's the second floor. You meant from the first floor? Sorry.
On the
There's a
exterior.
door right there.
You want to grab the mic?
Okay.
So effectively, there'd be no way into that staircase from the exterior of the house?
No, there wouldn't be. There could be. We could make a door to, at the bottom of the landing. We could do that, yes.
Okay, so effectively, they'd be living as kind of a single family, since there isn't
Well, we
an
would,
alternate way in.
if we don't, there's a landing at the bottom of the stairs. Our intention is to have a connection from that foyer into the stairs, so there could be a point, so the homeowner and his wife could go up and see his parents and provide care or concern. And there could be a staircase, a door at the bottom of the stairs with a stoop that could go outside, yes.
So there will be a door from the exterior?
Correct.
Okay, that was the piece that I was missing, because otherwise they'd be going through that bedroom every time.
Correct. No, we intend to put something, we didn't know how far to go with the plans in view of the fact that we knew that the variances requested were substantial. And again, this is within the context of trying to do something that meets everybody's needs and request the least amount of variance possible, you know, to come to the board to have some glimmer of hope that it might be viewed favorably.
Okay. The other thing is, I noticed that there's only, the driveway, I guess, is barely two-car, or just two cars, about a 30-foot driveway?
That I can't speak to, but maybe Dion could.
Yeah, my wife, I own a Prius and my wife owns an SUV, and we're both able to comfortably get, we've actually gotten almost 3 cars in that driveway.
Well, that's my concern, is that now you're going to be going to a household that has more than your typical 2 cars in an area that really is kind of stressed.
Well, there's a
with respect
lot
to
of
parking.
street parking, like everyone parks on the street on that block.
Well, that's the point I'm trying to make, is that the more of these that get granted, or the more people that move in, the harder it is to find parking. Is there a plan to maybe extend that driveway so that you could get a full 3 cars in there?
My name.
No, I have to, where'd it go? You have to state your name. You didn't, all right. Let me have your name and address.
My name is Tanya Rupa. I live with my husband at 115 Birch Road, Kings
Okay,
Park, New York.
raise your right hand. You swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Our neighbors, our immediate adjacent neighbors, currently park 3 cars in their garage, and they've widened it so there's 2 side by side and 1 in front, and they do that so as long as we've been living there. We had intentions of perhaps widening our garage to match our neighbors, perhaps one day down the road, but right now we can fit 2 cars in the garage comfortably, but I park on the street as it is.
In the garage or in the driveway?
The driveway, I beg your pardon, in the driveway, I'm sorry.
Okay, so I guess my, and
Our neighbors have a driveway too, not a garage, I'm sorry.
Thank you. And I guess my other thing is it possible, I noticed that there is a little bit of wiggle room on that second floor in terms of size. Is it possible to maybe redraw this, to cut that down slightly so that we get the FAR down slightly, maybe draw in that extension on the driveway, so that it's something that's a little bit easier for this board to approve, since it is a little bit more than.
So if we, just so I understand correctly, so maybe expand the driveway to accommodate 3 cars in the driveway?
I think so, because I think that's going to kick off an additional variance. And the second thing would be if you could maybe take a look at that second floor, if you can make, I guess, accomplish the objectives of the applicant in a little bit of a smaller footprint that would bring down the FAR and also bring down that special exception requirement. It becomes a little bit easier for this board to look at it as a whole, because it is missing a couple of those elements.
Okay, you're talking about the 20% relaxation with respect to the apartment, not the 34% FAR of the
It would
two
accomplish.
together.
It would basically take both of those into consideration. While I don't personally agree with the fact that you have that staircase on the exterior of the back of the house, the footprint of the house is so small. I think it really impacts the ability to use the existing house. So maybe try and get it from somewhere else if you give up a little bit of square footage somewhere else in the house. Or somehow make it fit. I don't see how it fits, and you can still use that as a bedroom.
Did you have any specific suggestions with respect to this?
Well, honestly, looking at it, if you could cut a foot out of that second floor bedroom, instead of 12 by 16, it becomes 11 by 16. And maybe cut another ½ a foot out of the bath and walk-in closet, and 1.5 foot out of the room that's 18.5 by 20. You wind up with essentially an 18.5 by 18-foot room, which is still a substantial room.
Okay, I think.
So you basically be cutting 1.5 foot to 2 feet off of the entire width of the house, and that would bring both of those numbers down, and it'd still be usable for what.
Could I just you show me in the paper there? Come up there.
Yeah, sure. I'll just explain. You don't have to respond. So if essentially you cut this from 12 by 16 down to 11 by 16, cut this closet and this closet and bathroom down to, say, 7 foot.
Oh, wait, okay, so which would do...
So it would basically take this down to 18 feet by the width of the house.
By 30, that
by
was
36.
I understand.
Thank you.
Do you want to adjourn this and then come back?
I was just going to ask you if we needed to amend the call of the meeting to reflect the 18 as opposed to the 20, or if it would be in the best interest to come back another night, whichever the board would feel.
Well, if you're going to expand the driveway, I think he's going to need another variance.
I'm only one person. I just think that it helps them, and it also helps the area.
Mm-hmm. It's up to you. You want to adjourn it and then come back with...
Essentially, the way it works is if you could come back and show us that whole picture,
Mm-hmm.
it makes it easier for us to, rather than us saying, all right, this is what we think he's going to do.
Okay, I mean, then, so we would, what does that do to the paper, the process? I'm not familiar with the process. If you could just, and that's going to be important because there's a time issue here. So I don't know if we're going to,
Well, if you're going to do the driveway, you're going to have to re-advertise. That's, because you're going to need another variance if you're going to do that. If you're going to take Mr. Tanzi's suggestion, I guess you have to show us on the plans how you're going to do that.
That's not a problem. That I can easily do that. But if we change the driveway to reflect 3 inline spaces, then they would have to be I'm asking, it would have to be re-advertised at that point. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
You could make it a condition of any decision, because I'd be willing to amend the call of the hearing to reflect 18 by 36 with the agreement to expand the
Well,
driveway.
I guess we could do it that way also if we.
Well,
we would
there's
have-
no action tonight at all.
We have a secret that we're waiting on.
Yeah,
right?
we're waiting for a secret anyway.
Yeah, essentially.
And lowering the request on the FAR would actually help with the secret
It
review.
certainly would help with the secret.
So essentially what's happening is we legally can't give a decision until we have a secret recommendation from DPW. We won't have that till the soonest the next meeting. Assuming the chairwoman could get you on the next meeting, these things would all happen concurrently.
And if we adjourned it, would there be enough time to do the advertising at that point? To be
Well,
compliant?
I think that would be kind of tight. I mean, if I might make a suggestion, you may want to consider approving the special exception separate from expanding the driveway at some point later on, because, you know, they'd have to go through the whole building process anyway. So by the time they're even ready to have the space occupied, you know, a few months prior to that, they could concern themselves with expanding the driveway. You know, at this point, if they agree to take 2 feet off the second floor, it takes the second floor down to 657 square feet.
And if we could do that, we could condition it upon coming back for that parking.
Yeah. The only thing is we can't make a decision tonight.
Correct, but still we could as
Yeah.
soon as we get it.
All right? This is what they're saying, is that if we can't do anything tonight. We don't have a secret.
Correct.
But if you're willing to take that 2 feet down and bring it down to 670 square feet, that will make your FAR, how, 30, you know?
That reduces it quite a bit, actually. Wow, so 63 square feet. It's probably going to bring it down to about the 31% mark.
Okay. Where'd it go?
And I did have a question for Blaze with respect to the calculation of 34% of FAR. You included in that calculation the enclosed staircase in the back of the house?
I'll tell you why. The
Wait, it's
building
not-
department measures FAR by the exterior dimensions of a dwelling. That includes all exterior walls. So if you have exterior walls enclosing a staircase, they are included in your FAR calculation.
Thank you. So we're agreeable to that, and by the time the building permit was issued, the plans were finalized, we would have time to submit the paperwork, you know, to make the 3 cars there. So we would be agreeable to that change.
Okay, so now let me ask you want me to adjourn it, or we'll just act on the special exception when we get the secret and do the driveway at another time?
Well, I'd rather act on the special on all the variances, make a decision with respect to all the variances at 18 feet, and the driveway would be maybe a condition of an approval or make an application, because we would agree to that as well. We could, you know,
Okay.
so in other words, it's going to take time to build this, get the building permit issued, so, but a condition could be the agreement that the driveway is expanded.
Okay, so you're willing to go to the 670 square feet?
Correct.
Okay. I think that we need to make sure that the environmental department knows this,
Yes.
all right, so that we can get a secret to make a decision?
We can notify them.
Okay?
All right?
Um,
As soon as we get the secret, we will make a decision.
Okay, then Blaze, I'll be in contact with you, I guess, to follow up with what has to be done.
Okay, very good.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I don't think is there anyone here that would like to be heard on this application? Okay.
We're it. That's it. Thank you.
All right. Uh, Yeah. I'll ask for a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Really moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion
Aye.
carried.
Madam Chair, the last case, number 17220, Christopher Gitz, 7 Terry Lane, Comac. The location of the property, the east side of Terry Lane, 114 feet north of Garrick Street. The property is zoned R10. The applicant requests a variance to reduce the minimum front yard setback, thank you, from 40 feet to 10 feet for a proposed in-ground pool and pool filter. Reduce the minimum setback of a proposed 6-foot fence from edge of road pavement from 20 to 10 feet.
Hi, how are you
Hi,
tonight?
Good. Okay, may I have your name, please?
Christopher Gitz, G-I-T-Z,
And your address, Christopher.
7 Terry Lane, Comac, New York, 11725.
Okay, raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
I guess in response to the questions, we're seeking to put an in-ground pool. We live on a turn, so much of our property is to the side of our house. The direct back of the house, I guess we were informed by the pool company, Town of Smithtown, asked you to put it in the back of your house. That's where the power lines come into the house, so we don't want to put the pool under the power lines. The area that we'd like to install the pool is an open space. There are no trees there. There would be no impact on the neighborhood or any of the neighbors' property or existing trees. I feel that it's not a substantial variance. It doesn't impact any property, anyone's property other than my own. And it doesn't affect the neighborhood in any way.
And the fence?
I guess there's a fence there. I guess the fence would remain where it is, but I think where the pool goes decreases the line.
Is there any problem as far as traffic, as far as making a turn or anything?
No,
With that
nothing.
fence?
No, nothing at all.
Planning?
Madam Chair, I would just say to the board that I think we would be concerned regarding, obviously, number one, the setback of the fence, because basically it's being proposed on the property line. Certainly, the board is aware that, on average, it does not approve setbacks to 0 for 6-foot fencing in front yards. Typically, there's at least a 3 or a 4-foot setback from the property line. Certainly, if the proposal could be shifted over 3 or 4 feet, I think the pool and the fence, that would have a much less impact, visually, having everything right up near the road. And I think secondly, because Terry Lane has such a wide sweeping curve to it, I think setting the fence back a little bit further would also help visually coming around that curve. If there are any children on bicycles or out in the street, it would give somebody the opportunity to see them a little bit clearer before they get around that bend. That would be our recommendation.
Yeah. Do you have a problem moving that fence and that pool a little bit? It shouldn't be.
No, I mean, I don't have a problem with it. My question is about moving the fence, just move it, I guess, back? Is that what you mean by that? I don't have a problem.
Typically what we'll do, the very rare occasion is that we'll grant the 0, which is essentially 10 feet from the edge of pavement.
Okay.
One of the things that we'll do to try to mitigate the impact of a fence that's significantly closer to the pavement is ask you to move it back enough so that you could fit plantings in to kind of make it a little bit softer, a little bit easier to fit in with the neighborhood.
Yeah, we would landscape along the fence anyway. It's just bare now because we lost a lot of trees from Sandy.
Is there
so-
anything prohibiting you from moving that pool a little bit? Just because if you move the fence back, it's going to cut your distance from the fence to the pool?
No, I mean, not that I can think of, no. I think they were just trying to take, it's a very wide open area, so I think they were just trying to take advantage of that.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Any other questions?
No question.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you for your time. Have a
You're
good
welcome.
night.
Is there anyone here that'd like to be heard on this application? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Is really moved and second. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
That can close our hearings for tonight. Thank you so much.